Hello, this is Rogers Redding, National Coordinator of Football Officials. I want to welcome you to the next set of video plays in preparation for the 2019 season. Once again, we have a number of plays for you to look at, and I encourage you to imagine you in the situation and place yourself in the video as if you were actually officiating the play. Okay, let's get right to the plays. The first thing to notice about this play is that we're inside a minute in the first half, and so therefore on this injured player, there should have been an option for a 10-second runoff. Apparently the crew just forgot about this because there's no indication that any effort is made to find out if the other team wants to run off. Now, if there is no 10-second runoff, then the clock would start on the snap. The clock starts on the referee's signal, which is another indication that there was no thought given to the 10-second runoff. So we got to remember these things. If we're inside a minute and a half, there's a number of things that come into play with regard to the 10-second runoff for a foul, for an injured player, for a helmet coming off. So we got to understand these things and got to remember that special things happen with regard to the clock inside a minute and a half. We missed an illegal formation here. Notice the position of the right tackle. He's about as deep as the slot man to the left side of the formation, so he's well off the ball, should be called for an illegal formation. So we've got at least 5 players in the backfield. The split into his right is pretty far back, so we just got to have better judgment and better recognition of these alignment formations. This clearly is an illegal formation. We should have a call for too many players in the backfield. We miss a false start on this touchdown pass play. Watch the left tackle on the offensive team. He flinches a little bit just before the snap. On the line feed, this is not a lot, but it is visible on the line feed. And then we get a couple of replays which show it very clearly. Now this is a big miss because they scored a touchdown on the play, and there should have been a 5-yard penalty for a false start. We just got to concentrate, especially when we get down to the goal line. We always need to concentrate, always, but our concentration should be ramped up when we get in this red zone. So we miss a false start, should have been called. On this play, we get a good call for unnecessary roughness, a late hit on the quarterback. Then we get a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct foul. We don't see that one on the video, but the referee announces it. However, the referee says that the unsportsmanlike conduct foul and the late hit on the quarterback offset. Now, of course, that cannot be correct. A live ball foul and a dead ball foul do not offset. And furthermore, if they did offset, we'd replay the down. So what should happen is that the penalty for the late hit on the quarterback would be enforced on either the try or the kickoff, and then the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty would also be enforced either on the try or the kickoff. But a dead ball foul and a live ball foul never offset. Good job to get this defensive holding foul against a receiver on a pass play. Notice that the foul does take place before the ball is in the air. And recall that we distinguish between defensive pass interference and defensive holding as to whether or not the ball has been released by the quarterback. So good job to get this, and good announcement by this referee.
Before the pass, holding, defense number 14. It's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot and results in an automatic first down.
We get a good call for an illegal block in the back on this punt return. You can see that number 31 of the receiving team runs into the back of a defender and knocks him to the ground. So this is a good call.
During the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 31. The penalty be enforced from the end of the kick. First down.
There's a little confusion about the penalty enforcement. The referee correctly announces that the foul takes place during the return, which means that the penalty would be enforced either at the end of the run or the spot of the foul. He announces that the penalty would be enforced at the end of the kick, but of course, since it's during the return, that's a running play, so the end of the kick has nothing to do with the spot of the enforcement. So this should be enforced either at the spot of the foul or the end of the run. Now those are very close to each other, so it would make a lot of difference in terms of the yardage. But the referee does need to be clear in his announcement as to the enforcement spot. On this play, we have an illegal touching of a forward pass by a player who is not eligible to touch the pass. You can see that number 70 on the offensive team reaches up and bats the ball to the ground to prevent the interception. Now this is a good call because he intentionally touches the ball.
Illegal touching. Ineligible player number 70 of the offense was the first person to touch the forward pass. 5-yard penalty at the previous spot, first down.
Remember that if it's an accidental touching, it's as if it hadn't happened. But in this case, it's clearly intentional. So good job to get this, and good job to recognize this as illegal touching of a forward pass by an ineligible player. We let an unsportsmanlike conduct foul go by on this touchdown play. You can see that the player who scores the touchdown goes to the stands and interacts with the fans. This is one that is specifically listed in Rule 921 as a foul that should be called. So we can't let these go by. This is the kind of thing that genders ill will. I'm not sure why we didn't call this, but it should have been called as an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Here's a good example of an onside kick play, which we handled very, very well. Onside kicks always present a challenge because there's so many things to look for and the action happens so fast. So this is well handled. The ball clearly goes beyond 10 yards before the kicking team player touches it and he recovers it. The play does go to review and this is allowed to stand. I believe it could have been confirmed, but in any event, good job by the officials on the field as they managed this onside kick play. We get a call for roughing the passer on this play. This is actually a foul under Rule 912, which calls for, among other things, striking a player in the head with a foul that is not targeting. Technically, of course, this is not a passer until he releases the ball, and this foul happens before he throws it. Good job to get this as a personal foul, but it should be more properly announced as a striking foul to the head.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 4. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
We get a good call for illegal substitution on this play. You can see that the defensive team has got more than 11 players on the field, but they're not in formation. They're still shifting in and out, running players off and on when the ball is snapped. So good job to get this as a live ball foul, not a dead ball foul, because they were not in the formation.
Illegal substitution, defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Just one suggestion about the referee's announcement. It would be good for him to say illegal substitution, more than 11 players on the field. That will indicate why it is that there's an illegal substitution foul. This play gives us an example of a blindside block targeting foul that was a foul last year and certainly would be a foul this year. And I want to point out that this block would be a foul this year under the new blindside block rule, even if it had not been a targeting foul. At about the 12-yard line, you're going to see a player on the offensive team commit a block in the back foul, and then almost immediately thereafter, the player that blocks in the back gets blasted with a blindside block targeting. Now we get the block in the back okay on the field, but replay comes in and creates a targeting foul. Now it's understandable that we didn't see the targeting foul, I suppose, because it happens almost simultaneously with the blindside block. But in any event, replay picks this up. It's a good call for targeting. You can see that there's an indicator. The player lowers his head, attacks with forcible contact with the crown of the helmet. This is the defenseless player, and so you could have either 913 or 914. So just wanted you to see this. This blindside block would be a foul under the new rule, even if the player did not contact to the head or neck area, or even if he didn't lower his head. In other words, just because you don't have targeting, in the new rule, if you have forcible contact when the player is in an attack mode from the blind side, then you have a foul for a blindside block.
After review, there are 2 fouls on the play. The block in the back that we already assessed. There was also a targeting foul on Maryland, number 33. Those fouls will offset. Number 33 will be disqualified for the targeting foul. We'll go back. The ball will be placed at the 43-yard line, first down and 10.
Let me also make a comment about the penalty enforcement. It is correct that the foul is offset. However, it is also correct that the player committing the targeting foul is disqualified from the game. And the referee makes a good announcement of this. So just because the foul is offset, nevertheless the targeting action still leads to disqualification from the game.